There are one or two things to look out for as a beginner, and I've got a few boards here to show you things to be aware of. All these faults are covered in our course notes, which are available from Thinking Hand Studios. Now, what we've done here is we've used whiting as the filler with a little bit of pigment. And as you can see, it is quite opaque. Now, if you leave some of that opaque filler on the surface, it obliterates the grain and it'll tend to look really, really cloudy. So you've got to be very particular about sanding right through so that the only filler is left in these tiny little grain structures inside there, and then the wood is nice and clear. Bodying in can be pretty tricky for the beginner, and these are the most obvious faults. Now you can see here we've got tiny little circles. We've been putting a body of polish on there, but there's been too much on the rubber, and if you look carefully you can actually see these ring marks that are left as the rubber is worked in tiny circles. It squishes the shellac out and leaves a ring. Now they can be really problematic if they aren't removed, so that's one thing to look out for. Another thing is, I'll just get this so that we can see it in the light. If we use shellac that is too thick, if you just bear with me while I look at that, and hopefully I can get a light to reflect off it. I think that's the best we can do. You'll see here, this is using shellac that's too thick. I've done figures of 8 on here, but you'll be able to see there are ridges which are left as the cloth tracks across the shellac surface, and where it turns into a circle like that, you can see these ridges. It's just because the shellac has been used too thickly. Now, when we come to filling the grain, I'll be just demonstrating how to use pumice. But if you use too much pumice, this is what happens. You get this great gooey mess, and you can actually hear that. It's not too much of a problem. We can resolve it, but that is a very easy mistake to make with too much pumice. Another mistake that you can make is and I'm doing the same thing again to try and get the light to reflect off this. Another mistake you can make is using the rubber too wet or not allowing enough time to dry. And you can see here, as you are rubbing through and putting the surface on, you can actually rub through the shellac. So you're getting some areas that have got shellac deposited on there and other areas that have been pulled off. Mainly this is caused by using too much methylated spirits in your shellac. Now, this one is probably a bit difficult to show. I'll do my best. This is actually lifting the rubber from the surface. Instead of taking the rubber, as is recommended, right to the edge and lift, if you lift it up like that, you get little patches forming in the surface like that. So again, when you use your rubber, it needs to come on horizontally onto the surface. You do whatever you need to do on there, and then you take it off almost horizontally. Otherwise, you'll get little areas showing through. Another little problem is nibs that are left. That's little bits of dust that get a shellac build-up, and then they can be quite pronounced in places. But the big thing is it's going around these edges. Edges are so easy to forget, and as you can see on this test piece here, those edges have been forgotten, and it's so easy just to concentrate on the inner surfaces like that. We hope you found the tutorial interesting, informative and easy to understand. If you would like to learn more about French polishing, please look at our other furniture restoration modules covering topics including furniture reviving, staining and patination. Feel free to check out some of our other courses, kits and learning options in jewellery, sculpture, gilding and furniture restoration. We welcome your feedback and any questions you may have.